Hey guys, look, a lot of you don't know me because I've been doing all my content on German, and we've built a little fan base in German, and it's time to spread the word in English. So this is going to be our first real talk. I'm going to start right away, and I'll start answering questions about who I am and why you should follow this channel. Let's get it.
NNG Podcast.
To begin with, let the people know who you are, who's Coach Aaron, and how was your childhood and how did it affect the person you are today?
To go back to where I was really, really young, like I had a brother, two sisters, and my childhood was a mixture of tough love. Looking back, knowing what I know now, it was a rough childhood, you know. But when you're a child, living in the ghetto or being poor is not the same as for grown people. The childhood made me who I am today because I had to go through really hard times, and I had a lot of childhood trauma, like a lot of people have nowadays. A lot of people have childhood traumas. For one person, it might be a slap in the face. For another, it might be being raped or sexually abused, you know? So, like, as a child, there's a thin line between trauma and all that stuff. So, growing up, you don't know what childhood trauma is. As a man, you're a tough man, and you just, you know, put your feelings away and you grow and you become strong. But what happens is when you do not know what's going on inside of you and you grow up with trauma, you can't really figure out who you really are. It makes it hard for you to know who you are and what your path is. So, of course, the childhood led to me having having some tough teenage years. You know, growing up, I was a great athlete, playing basketball, football, and I got a scholarship to JUCO, Arizona Western College, and ended up getting arrested for armed robbery, home invasion, all type of bullshit, you know, and that's when you realize, okay, something's like, why am I always fucking up, you know? So that led to me having hard times, not knowing who I was. So me not knowing who I was fucked up a potential NFL career. And it led me all the way to Europe, basically, to where I became a pro footballer that basically, like, did everything he could, but was still full of traumas. And when you're full of traumas, you think you're tough, you know? And you start hiding behind a mask that you create, you know? And I think 99% of the people live behind a mask that they created through growing up in their life, you know? So for me, this is like the short version of the way I grew up, and what made me who I am is like that mask. To take it off, those are big steps for a lot of people. You have to let your ego go. There's a lot that comes in connection with that mask that you're carrying, that character that you created because you're a scary little punk, you know, because you know there's something in you that you have to basically take care of, and it's called accountability. It's kind of looking in the mirror and looking at your wrongs, you know, looking at what have I done wrong in my life. And when you had that mask on, you blame everything. You blame the way you grew up. You blame the people that let you down. You blame your ex-girlfriend. You blame the homie that stole from you. You blame everybody but yourself, you know. And that's why it's like, for me, it took 30 plus years to turn to somebody that I spent I spent half a century in prison in 2 different countries for the same mistakes. And I had like a 15-year criminal career. I'm talking about monstrous, like I've done things that aren't even like, where I can't even believe that used to be me. Because when you're a child, when you go back before the trauma, there's a time. And when I go back and I was 7 years old, I wanted to become someone who helps people. I wanted to become a soldier. I wanted to become a policeman. I wanted to become a doctor, or I wanted to become a priest. When you're 7, you're only thinking about helping people. You feel me? Like you're just trying to help somebody. You're not thinking about fuck the popo. You're not influenced by all that crap. You feel me? So your intentions are pure. So at one point I had to sit down with my 7-year-old to figure out who I really was. You understand? So I understood I'm a warrior of light and not of darkness, but I've lived my life in darkness because I was wearing a mask. You understand? So once I figured out who I really was, I understood that like I have to change my whole life. I have to change my whole mental state. So I just started doing things that, like, through my football career, I was one of the most dominant players to ever touch the ground. Like I would even, like in that time, 2015, I got an invitation by Miami Dolphins or the Giants. Like I was really good. Like I was, like, I'm talking about in history wise. I'm like, on my position, there was not a lot of people that could step up to me. And it was just like, I did that with broken hands, out of shape, you know, living a lavish life, living a life of foolery, you know, driving big cars, a lot of females, a lot of just bad foods, bad people around you, you know, balling. They call that balling, with the grills and the go, like balling, you know, like we'll put up some pictures. Like I used to like be so full of shit that I thought that means anything. Your status, the bread. I used to be like, bro, look, you understand? If a lion doesn't know he's a lion, one day he'll wake up in the fucking zoo and notice he's fucking living with sheep and goats. You feel me? What is a big turning point in my mental state is sitting down with your 7-year-old and asking yourself who the fuck you are. That's the first time I realized I'm not who I'm supposed to be. Because I looked in a room and I'm sitting there with people that I don't really fuck with. Because I'm trying to be the best version of myself. And I was living a life 30 years of not fulfilling what I could have been, basically. And always making excuses for why I failed and what went wrong. So that was the starting point of me really starting to get away. So I made a decision to really like cut ties with the life I was living. But cutting ties doesn't always mean things are gonna go your way. So I even moved away from my city because I can't go back to America. I'm living in Germany, you know? So I moved away from the city I grew up in, 3 hours away to another big city, you know, to be with people that weren't helping me in any way. So I lived with I lived with people for 3 years that same thing, did not help me grow, but I grew. It was still small steps that I had to take to get away. So now I'm partying more. I'm away from the criminal lifestyle. I'm building up my whole coaching thing, but I'm still living a life full of lies, self-destruction. You feel me? I'm with toxic people. I'm in a toxic relationship. You know, I'm dealing with people that I would never deal with. They could never even sit. That's what I'm saying. Now all of a sudden, you went from lions, you know, like being in dance full of lions, but you know that life, the dark path is not yours, to hanging with goats and sheeps. So that was even worse for me at that time. But I was on my way. I knew what I wanted. So I built the brand. I started doing things, but I was still blaming people. I was still making excuses. I was still drinking alcohol. I was living a really bad lifestyle. You feel me? So the turning point came when my ex broke up with me. You feel me? That was a really important point because it let someone else in my life. And that was the time where, like, when you're with the right people, all of a sudden, once I got with my wife, my whole mindset changed because I was around people that saw me for who I was, who I've always seen myself for. You feel me? So that turned me to a motherfucking monster right there. Because now for the first time in years, since I've been a child, I'm around the right people. People that are letting me grow. You feel me? If you put if you put an oak tree seed, an oak tree, you know what an oak tree is, right? There's a big motherfucking tree. Let's not cuss too much. If you put that oak tree seed in a pot, what happens if you put it in a 2-liter bucket? It's gonna stay small. What happens if you put it in a 5-liter bucket? What happens if you go out to the forest and put it in the forest where it's supposed to be? It's gonna grow to its full potential. And that's your environment. Your environment is that little pot. You understand? And when you're motherfucking Zangenhausen and he's in Erfurt, you're in the little pot. Yeah, and you can't grow. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're staying in the comfortable pot. Because there's water. There's an old lady putting water over you. Every 3 days, the cat is coming and sniffling on you. Good, you chilling. Because you're scared of the forest now. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most people. We live in that small pot and we can't grow. So that was my whole problem. This is what I figured out. I'm fucking 37 years old. It took me till I was 34 to figure out, okay, because I changed the environment once. I started getting better in but it's still my demons, the things that people call depressions. It's not depression. It's called living in a small ass pot and not being able to grow. And your spirit and your soul knows, I'm supposed to be growing. I'm supposed to be a warrior of light. Why? Why is this dude holding me down with his fucking head, with his mental, with his excuses? And that's what people do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was the person I was. Everybody gave me respect because I was a big tatted guy, big car. Everybody gave me respect, but I don't give a shit about respect no more because I didn't respect myself. So once I started loving and respecting myself, and I had the people around me to let me grow, and then, bro, it's over now. Like, everything I already knew. I knew shit. I was making so much fucking cheese as a crook, just using my mental, you feel me? And I was always mentally there, but I couldn't connect the dots because I didn't know who the fuck I was. Because I was just fucking blinded from the mask that has been on my face so long that I forgot who the fuck I was. So once you start taking off that mask, now you see your weaknesses. It's called self-reflecting. So once you start self-reflecting and going inside to a place where you're scared of the dark, you start growing. Because automatically your soul is like, thank you. Thank you for seeing the weakness. This is holding us down, brother. If you're growing a plant and the plant has diseases and you just keep, you're a gardener. You can't, it won't reach its potential because you're not taking care of the problems. Like, fuck it, man. There's a little disease. We'll let it grow out. We'll smoke that bud still. It'll be okay. You know, that's the mentality of most people. But if you're a dog, if you're a real chemist, you taking care of that disease, you taking care of everything, and that bud is gonna be pure because you took care of the little problems. You made sure that soil's good, watered that motherfucker down. You're a failure to yourself. Being a failure in life means not doing what you said. Because everybody in their head said, I'm gonna run a mile this weekend. I'm gonna start eating sugars. I'm gonna get on a little diet. I'm gonna start lifting 3 times a week. You're a failure because you failed to do what you said. And nobody fucking cares about you. Nobody cares about your story. Nobody cares about why you didn't do it. Nobody even cares about your goals. That's what I'm saying. It's just you against you. That's what people don't understand. It's all about, it's you. Nobody's gonna remember you. 8 billion people every 100 years. Nobody cares. Why do you not do anything to become the best? Why do people stay in that little pot if there's so much more? You understand? And it just begins with self-reflecting yourself, you know, and that's been my journey for the people that wanted to get to know me. Like that's been my journey in the short version. You know, this is our first video. We're gonna do a lot of podcasts on this channel. We're gonna do real talks. We're gonna think of things to really like wake up people. And here's the thing: people don't know me because I've been doing my things in German, like, for years, you know. And I grew up in America. We came to Germany when I was 12 years old. When I was 18, I went back to America, Richmond, California, lived there for a year and a half, got a scholarship to Arizona, wanted to start a football career, worked hard for it, but mentally not ready. Went to prison for armed robbery, spent a year and a half, got deported to Germany, won a German championship in the Europe's best league right when I got out of prison. 2 years later, got locked up for almost 3 years, came out, won the European championship, and after that just dominated the league for a couple years. And here I am, and I built up my whole platform on German, you know. And now it's time for me to just spread the word in English, and I just want to reach more people. That's why we're switching the languages on y'all. So I hope you guys like what we have planned here. Like I said, we're gonna have podcasts, and I'm gonna really go into my past and all the mental things I had to go through, because I know a lot of people are going through obesity, depressions, and I've been fat half of my life. I mean, look at me. This is since I've been a child. I've been a fat kid. I was a fat athlete, D lineman. Like, I got away from making excuses, because it's like it is not healthy. There's no standard. We have more fat people than ever in the history of mankind. So we're really, really trying to give y'all some knowledge about just mental health, body health, nutrition. We're gonna have a lot of people with a lot of information on our little cast and a little podcast, and I hope you guys like it, and we'll see y'all next week with another Real Talk. Boom.